books about successful women?
Because I love reading about olden day girls. When I was little, I was just telling you guys that when I was little, my favorite books were All of a Kind Family, Betsy, Tacy, and Tib, Little House on the Prairie, and I loved reading about girls from a long time ago. But I also liked reading about real women. I mean, some of those women are real, but I liked reading biographies about them, the childhood of famous Americans, and there were never quite as many girl stories as there were boy stories, and there just weren't. I wanted to read more. Like I remember where they were in my library when I was growing up, and there just weren't that many. So I usually write the stories that I couldn't find growing up, the women that I couldn't read about or didn't find when I was growing up.
Do you see any of yourself in Julia Lau?
I wish I did. She loved the outdoors, and I love being outside. It's hard for me to be inside when it's beautiful out. I make my kids, we're always outside, so definitely that. I'm from Savannah, like Julia Corey was, although I moved when I was a really young baby. But really, I think I wrote about her and a lot of the people I write about because I admire her, I admire how she's different. I think she's probably braver than me. And a lot of the women I write about are people that break rules and they don't care what people think about them. And that's something I really admire, and I wish I was more like that. I tend to be, and especially when I was y'all's age, I tend to, worry that what other kids thought about me and if I was doing the right thing. So I tend to write about people that don't care what other people think because I think that's such a cool, brave thing.
Why did you write the book Here Comes the Boys?
I'll talk about this in a little bit, but when I was little, my favorite stories, I always was begging my mom to tell stories about when she was growing up. Do you guys get your parents to tell stories about when they were? I loved that. And my favorite stories that she would tell was about when she was a Girl Scout, or about when she was a Girl Scout. And she grew up in Savannah, Georgia, where the Girl Scouts started. So being a Girl Scout was really important to her. That was kind of the most important thing in her childhood. And if I was really lucky, and actually I have it here a little bit, she even would pull out her old badge sash, which I've been so careful with on this trip because if I lose it, she will never speak to me again. This is my mom's badge sash from the 1950s. You see it says Savannah? Yeah, and I knew how important it was the Girl Scouts were to her, and she would tell me about all the adventures they would have. So when I started writing about strong women in history, I remembered that when I was little, we toured the Julia Gordon Low House, and I wanted to find out more about how it really started. And also, because I liked olden day girls, I had this picture of these olden day girls with their big hair bows and their long dresses, and I was thinking, did they really go hiking and camping in those kind of clothes? And they did. I found out they really did. But yeah, so that's why I was interested in it.
Did you write anything that you learned when you were a Girl Scout? Did you write anything
From being a Girl Scout? I was a Girl Scout briefly, but mostly what I remember is the adventures. And it was all about having fun and trying new things. And so that's what I tried to focus on in my story. Like I really wanted I didn't want it to just be a biography. I wanted to show those first Girl Scouts having adventures because I thought it was so cool that they did that same thing in 1912 that you guys are doing today. And they still went camping and hiking and swimming.
Well, did you create any new, special friendships in Girl Scouts?
I was only a Girl Scout really, really briefly. My mom, so I was just a Girl Scout for probably a few months because there wasn't a troop in my school. But my mom, who was a Girl Scout for her whole life, she's still friends with today with the girls she met, the women she met in Girl Scouts. They've stayed in touch through the whole thing. She remembers her troop leader's name, and that was very inspiring to me that she forged those friendships that were so important to her.
Well, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh, that's easy. Thin Mint. Isn't it everyone's?
Actually, that's not my favorite.
Really? I don't know. That's crazy. Really? What's your favorite?
I don't know the names.
Okay. I also like the Samoas or caramel.
Those are my favorite. I like those too. Me too.
Yeah, they're really good. What about you? Like the Savannah Smiles?
Yeah, they're okay, but I like some others.
Yeah, I agree.
This has been a Galley interview, and don't forget to keep reading.